Hey guys, it's Steph and welcome back to my channel. So as some of you may know, a few weeks ago I was very kindly invited by L'Oreal to go up to London to attend a masterclass with none other than Beyonce, the Beyonce's makeup artist, Sir John, who by the way is literally the coolest guy ever. Like, he was so nice. I know he kind of has to be nice because, I mean, chances are he's not going to go to his own event and not be nice, but like, the guy was so normal. So this was actually the first masterclass that I have ever been to, so I wasn't really sure on what to expect. I kind of had the idea to do this video, but I wasn't really sure if there'd be anything in particular that I would want to relay back to you guys. But I took some notes. I took a whole lot of notes, and I also have Ollie's Subway order at the bottom there. So yeah, I was watching that guy like a hawk, and I was making notes of pretty much every single thing he did to that beautiful model. And I've got to say, Sir John, with all due respect, you got some weird techniques, man, and I love it. I am buzzing to try some of these things out. So yeah, today I'm going to be attempting, keyword being attempting here, to take everything that I learned from Sir John's masterclass. I'm going to try and recreate what he did on my own face, and we're going to see how the hell it works out. Let's get my game face on. Wow. So one of the first things that Sir John taught us was that he doesn't really tend to use primer, which, I mean, man after my own heart. You guys know primer is probably one of my most least used makeup items, I guess. He just uses moisturizer and he applies it all over the skin and then goes straight in with foundation. So the skin's super kind of wet and moisturized. A lot of you guys, if you've watched my everyday makeup tutorials, will probably know that I don't really use primers that often, and I do actually tend to kind of just use moisturizers as my primers. But that, my friends, is where the similarities between my makeup style and Sir John's makeup style comes to an end. Because after this, him and I are just complete polar opposites, to be honest. Which is why he's the professional makeup artist and I look like this. So the moisturizer that I was just using, by the way, it was from Beauty Pie. There's a bug. It's a Super Healthy Skin Ultimate Anti-Aging Cream. And I'm not sure what foundation he used. I think he used some sort of L'Oreal one. So I'm just going to go in with this YSL Touche Eclat All-in-One Glow foundation. It's kind of like a medium coverage, but also quite dewy because the foundation that he used seemed to be quite skin-like. And he just went ahead and took that on a sponge and just pushed that into the skin. So as you can see, I'm not really using that much. I'm not using too much coverage, which is breaking my dark, cold little heart. I think one of the main things I learned from his masterclass was that he likes his skin to look like skin. It has to be fully blended out, no sign of foundation or anything like that. Whereas you guys know me, I'm usually Cake Face McGee over here, so going low coverage it's breaking my little heart. So I'm really making sure that I just push this into my skin so it's not just sitting on top. And I think the moisturizer helps that as well, because it just kind of it's almost like the moisturizer sinks into the skin, and then because it's still wet, the foundation kind of mixes with the moisturizer, which then sinks into your skin, if that makes sense. Don't know if there's any kind of science behind that, but in my little tiny brain, that's how I feel like it works. And then what I'm also doing, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell from here, but I'm not going past my under eyes or anything, because one thing that he did teach us later on was that he doesn't apply much product under the eyes. He applies a minimal amount of product under the eyes to stop them from creasing. So yeah, he said to keep the amount of product under the eyes as minimal as possible. So I'm leaving foundation out from under my eyes. Don't know why I'm giving you guys the finger. Leaving foundation out from under my eyes, and I'm just going to conceal that later. So with what I was saying with the under eyes and the fact that he doesn't use that much product under the under eyes to stop them from creasing, same goes for the smile line. So this is the end that I was using to actually blend out my foundation. This side is pretty much clean. So he recommended around the smile line, so just kind of blot away any excess product. Again, just to have the most minimal amount of product that you can, on your smile line so that it doesn't crease. And then once he was done with the sponge, he would take a standard flat top buffing brush and basically just kind of finesse the whole area, make sure we're all properly blended out. So the next thing he did was move on to eyes. Now, he didn't prime the model's eyelid with anything, no foundation, no concealer, no eye primer. He just went straight in. Just straight in with eyeshadow, so we're going to do that. So in all honesty, I'm not 100% sure what palette he used for the eyes, but I know it was just two kind of fairly standard brown eyeshadow shades. He also mentioned the eyebrow powders work really well as well, so I'm going to give that a go. I've got my Urban Decay Naked Basics palette here, and then I've also got my Zoeva Brow Spectrum palette. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and take this shade here. It's called BR090. I think this is the first time I've ever used like a brow powder on my eyes, let alone using it without any kind of base. So I'm just going to kind of work that in my crease and a little bit on my lid. You know, I'm not disliking that. I'm not actually disliking that. I think because it's got like some of the moisturizer on there, it's using that to kind of blend it out almost like a cream. Yeah, I ain't hating it. That's pretty much it for that colour. And then I think, yeah, I'm just going to stick with this palette, I think. I'm going to go in with this shade here in the middle. Or if you did have this palette, for example, you could use the faint shade just there, the darker brown. And I'm going to put that kind of all over my lid. Oh, it's weird. I can literally see my veins through this eyeshadow. Right, so then again, same as before, I'm not doing anything to my lower lash line. He put concealer on after the eyeshadow, which I guess kind of makes sense, but normally I would do eyeshadow and then foundation and concealer, but he does foundation, eyes, concealer. Well, at least he did, like, when he was doing this look. All right, so I feel like I just look like how I look after I haven't slept for, like, 2 days. Okay, all right, so next he moved on to concealer. So this was kind of like the star of like the whole masterclass. This is like one of the main products that L'Oreal have just launched. And one thing he actually said, by the way, check out the size of his doe foot. He does not understand the whole like big triangles under your eyes, which we all know I love. Sometimes I go in with 2 triangles under my eyes, like do one, blend it out, and then do another because I love a lot of coverage. But he literally was just like, just do a couple of dots and don't take it like up to your lash line. Just kind of leave it as it is. Like work with the colour under the model's eye, or in my case, under my eyes. And then he actually uses a fluffy kind of eyeshadow brush just to blend out the concealer. So I'm going to try that and I'm going to see how it works. Just circular motions to kind of buff that out. That concealer is pretty full coverage as well. Like you guys saw how like little I used compared to how much I would normally use. And my under eyes are still covered. So I'm definitely going to give that a go for like my full-on cake face routine. Okay, I actually quite like this technique. This whole blending it out with a fluffy brush, I can get on board with that. All right, so next we're going to move on to contouring. So Sergio said that he always likes to do cream contouring and then he likes to use powder contour to kind of set everything in place. He really kind of drilled it into us to make sure to always use a cool tone contour as opposed to like a slightly warmer tone, because obviously you can bronze it up later on, but just to start off by using a cool tone contour because that's how you can really get the shadow. So one of the products, if I can open it, that he recommended was this from RCMA. It is called the Highlight and Contour Palette. I think it's just like a concealer cream contouring powder. I've used this thing like once and I think I liked it, but I don't know why I've never really used it since. But it was this shade in particular that he said was good for contouring. So that looks like that. Although the product that he actually used on the day that he used on the model was a darker shade of the concealer. By the way, the shade that I used earlier on was Cashew, I believe, just to like conceal my under eyes. So the shade that I'm going to use now for cream contouring is called Chestnut. So what he actually did was take that product on the back of his hand. And then he actually again took a fluffy brush. So I'm just going to take this one from Tarte and just kind of dot the brush in there. This feels wrong. And I'm going to just kind of lightly fluff that around my face. Oh, that looks too dark for me. Okay, let's see how we can blend it out. But yeah, he used like really, really, really light motions. Swirling motions. Okay, it's not the right color, is it? Maybe if I use like a larger brush. Okay, that doesn't work for me right now, so I'm going to blot that down a bit. All right, I'm going to try that again. I kind of like blotted it down a little bit. You can still kind of see it a little bit though. But I'm going to take like the tiniest little amount, because I think I just took too much on my brush. Okay, that's a bit better. Works a lot better with like less product and a bigger brush. Don't know if I'm loving that, I'll be honest, but we ain't done yet. That's a bit better. Literally use the tiniest amount. But so far, I'm not looking like Beyonce, I've got to say. All right, so you know what? I am actually going to try this out. Maybe this will work better for me, because I think that other shade is just a touch too dark. Maybe like 5 touches too dark. All right, so again, I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and I'm going to try and contour my nose with this. He like fully went in from the brow. So like normally I would just go straight kind of down, but he was like fully just curving it in from the crease and down the nose. I feel like that's kind of working. And I'm going to try that brush that I started off with again, but just go in with the RCMA concealer. Okay, I prefer that instantly. That's a much better colour. That's what I get for picking my like concealer contour shade in the dark, pretty much. All right, so then we're going to move on to powder, and we're going to set our under eyes and pretty much nothing else. He's not much of a fan of setting makeup, our Sir John, so we're going to pretty much just set our under eyes, maybe like a little bit around your T-zone if you need to. This is the L'Oreal New Loose Powder, which is called the Infallible Magic Loose Powder. And I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but it's blue. So Sir John always recommended to use a loose powder under the eyes because it's not as heavy as a pressed powder. And one other trick that I think I will probably remember until like my dying day is he said that when you have like a loose powder, you can kind of tell if something is heavy, like a heavy loose powder, or something more lightweight. Because if you kind of dust it or blow it, if it like goes up in the air, then it's like a lightweight powder. Or if it like sinks pretty much straight down, then it's a really heavy powder. So always kind of use a lightweight powder under the eye. Thought that was pretty interesting. And again, he said to use a really, really minimal amount. I think one of the main reasons he like doesn't really set his makeup too much is because it tends to wear more nicely if you don't set your makeup. It just kind of makes you look a lot more kind of glowy and I guess youthful when you have that kind of glisten to your skin. Because I mean, we all know I love to like pile on like the shimmery highlighters, but you know when you've got like a really good skin day going on, or you've just had a facial and you've got like a wet, glowy look to your skin? It's kind of like that. Okay, so just set my under eyes and yeah, it's looking pretty smooth. Again, I don't personally tend to use much powder under my eyes anyway, so my under eyes are kind of looking like they always do, just with a lot less coverage. And obviously I did put a little bit kind of like in between my brow and a little touch on my forehead, but other than that, that's like all I'm doing for powder. So then we'll move back into bronzer. So the product that he actually used on the day was the L'Oreal Back to Bronze Powder, which is actually one of my favorite bronzers. So I'm just gonna take some of that and just kind of set that contour in place as well with that bronzer. Okay, that actually is working. Like concealer alone, I'm like, no. But on top, that's actually smoothed it out a lot. And then again, obviously, if you want to kind of clean anything up a little bit, just use your sponge. This like lack of coverage on my skin is really throwing me off. Because normally I'd be looking at myself and I'd have like full beat, like intense contour, intense everything. And I've just got this kind of natural looking skin where I can just actually see my skin through it. You can actually see my skin for once. And you can obviously see like a couple of little blemishes and everything, just little hints of them. And so to have like contour over the top, it's just throwing me off, to be honest. All right, so next I just got concealer all over my arm. All right, so next we'll move on to brows. And for that, I have a spoolie and I have some spirit gum. Now you might be wondering, Steph, what the hell are you about to do with a spoolie and a spirit gum? Well, apparently one of Sir John's favorite ways to kind of set the brows and shape them is by using spirit gum. Am I ever going to be able to open this thing? Just give me a minute. If I get this all over my bloody hot water bottle, I swear to God. All right. Spirit gum. Oh, that smells so strong. So when it came to brows, one of the most interesting tips that Sir John gave us was to use either wig glue, spirit gum, or Pritt stick in your brows. Now, I've used Pritt stick, like a glue stick, in my brows before, so I thought, let's give this a go. I guess you just kind of like... Oh, that actually worked. That's like the perfect size. Huh. Fits a spoolie in perfectly. Okay, so so strong. Right. So I'm just gonna brush that through my brows. He mentioned that he likes really kind of fluffy looking brows, so I'm gonna work with a little bit of texture that I've got going on. Oh, this has glued my brows down, baby. Oh, that's good. You guys know I'm always like on the hunt for a brow gel that just like properly sticks my brows down. Because my brows always like go all over the place. That is solid. Like that mixed with my Botox, like I can't move my brows at all. It's like the best thing ever. Okay, if there's one thing I am taking away from this entire experience, spirit gum on the brows, that is literally everything I've kind of wanted from a brow gel. And it's bloody spirit gum. So the next product that he used in the model's brows was Unbeliever Brow, which is again another fairly new product from L'Oreal. So the one that I'm using is in the shade Dark Brunette. I've used this product before. It's really, really good. I'm just going to take an angle brush. You can obviously kind of use this as like a pomade, which I sometimes tend to do. But he liked to kind of coat his brush and just do really, really fine hair strokes. So anywhere you kind of need them. I'm going to try and not do like a really intense brow, like my usual. I'm actually going to try and give myself like a bit of a boy brow almost. I'm just trying to kind of like recreate the model's brows without making them look too insane. So I've got like quite an like obvious shape in my brows. Like it's very kind of arched from plucking them. But the model's brows were like very minimally plucked. So I kind of want to try and recreate that, but I don't know if I'm doing a very good job. I don't think I am. Yeah, that's not bad. Stop being so hard on yourself, Steph. I will say that I'm gonna just ever so slightly cheat and just kind of rub out this one hair because that's throwing me off. Oh, guys, this spirit gum stuff, I'm instantly converted. He even said, like, if you have like minimal brow hairs or even like no brow hairs, then you can still use something like this and you can easily draw the brow hairs on top of it. I think because it does just create some kind of like texture. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of digging these like beastie brows. All right, so next is kind of like the star of this whole look, really. So I actually picked this up purely for the sake of this video, but I've kind of always wanted to try it. So this is the Stila Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Smoky Storm. So this is what he actually used on the model as well. And these are probably like one of the most hyped up eye products of like, I'd say 2018. But I never managed to get my hands on it, so I'll just swatch it for you guys. Like, look at it. It's beautiful. Looks stunning. So we're just going to put that all over the lid and then kind of blend it out with a fluffy brush. Let's see what all the fuss is about with this, eh? Just blend that in with a fluffy brush. Okay, to be fair, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. By the way, I'm just using a tart brush at the moment, but kind of like any fluffy brush will do, to be honest. So just tapping motions and then a little bit of like windscreen wiper motions. Okay, that is very, very pretty. Like these things are not cheap. I think they're like £24, which is a lot of money. But I do really like that. I like that a lot, actually. So then we'll move on to mascara. He didn't use any false lashes or anything like that. He actually said that he rarely uses false lashes, even for like shoots or whatever. He just likes to kind of work with whatever the model's got. So the mascara that he said was one of his favorites is also one of my favorites. Like, we're pretty much exactly the same. This is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise Ecstatic Mascara. You've probably heard me talk about it many, many times. And one trick that he actually said as well, my fingers are kind of disgusting right now, but he would actually use his finger and just kind of use it as a shield to make sure he doesn't get any mascara on the eyelid. And I mean, my finger's a little bit messy, but yeah, that actually kind of worked. But I don't really suffer with that too much. Like, I feel like I can kind of get around it. So I'm just going to do it as I would normally. Oh, I haven't used this mascara in time. And it's so good. By the way, let me know in the comments what your mascara face is. Because I was just silent for a minute then, just doing my mascara. And I realised I do this. Hit my tongue out a little bit. What's your mascara face? Describe it to me in the comments. I like it. You know what? I actually just reminded myself of one thing you mentioned as well. Is to use a, like, one of these things. Like these brow lash combs. To kind of brush at your brows if you want to look a little bit more fluffy or whatever. And obviously get rid of any clumps in your mascara. And to like use one of these over like a spoolie sometimes because it doesn't make the brows look extra clumpy or anything. So if you just kind of brush it through that way, you can really kind of brush through the product without making the brows look bitty. Fabulous. So next we'll move on to highlighter, and there is no powder highlights today. I don't know how I'm going to cope, but we're going to get through this together. What we are going to use is this guy, again from L'Oreal. This is the Glow Mon Amour highlighting drops. Again, this is one of the products that he used. And he basically put some on the back of his hand and just kind of tapped it into the skin with his finger. My fingers are really dirty and just covered in like random stuff. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. And literally just tap that in the skin. One little story he was kind of telling us as well is when he goes on holiday, for example, he will... Oh, by the way, never take your highlighter, in the words of Sir John, like past the outer corner of your eye, basically, because then it just kind of looks a bit oily. He said just to like keep it. I've already gone a bit too far in because I have a problem when it comes to highlighter, but to just kind of keep it here and focus on like the outer parts of your face, but just to like not really go past the outer corner. So yeah, one little anecdote that he did kind of let us into that he likes to do whenever he goes on holiday or whatever is obviously he'll use like SPF on his face, but he'll use different levels of SPF. So for example, he'll use like a really high SPF, I think he said like SPF 80, like under his eyes and kind of like in the center of his face and everything like that. And then everywhere else, he'll just use like factor 30 or something. And then by the time you've kind of gotten out of the sun and you've got a little bit of a tan going on, you'll be like contoured and you'll have like these really bright under eyes. And like, I am so gonna try that next time I go away. Another little tip that you mentioned when using your fingers, so pretty much anything to be honest, always use your ring finger because it's kind of your weakest finger. If you use this, you can damage like the eye area, you can cause wrinkles and everything. So if you use your ring finger, it's the one that you get the lightest touch from, so you're gonna get a nicer finish. Okay, that is actually quite nice. I've used this before, but I used it as like a highlighter base. You know me, just like piling like 12 highlighters on in one video. Yeah, I'm just going to use that on like bare skin days or when I'm just wearing concealer. That looks good. And it doesn't look like anything either. It's not glittery. It just looks good. All right, so last but not least, we're going to move on to lips. And we're also going to use this little product here to also go on my cheeks as a little kind of blush. So this here is the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade San Juan. Is that how you say it? If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. But this is just kind of like a orangey red kind of shade. I don't know. I think he used a L'Oreal product on the model actually when he was doing the masterclass, but I don't have it. So I thought this could maybe work. Although now I'm like kind of doubting myself a bit. Maybe. But yeah, all he really did with this was take some on a fluffy brush or like a buffing brush or whatever and just kind of pat that onto the model's cheeks. That's a lot. There's a lot. I don't use cream products, okay? I just use powders. That's what I like. This is confusing for me. Okay, blending out. It's blending out. Good. Yeah, it's not half bad. It's more blusher than I'd normally wear, but normally I'd wear like 0. So I think I kind of preferred it before, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And then I'm just going to apply that to the lips. One other little trick that he mentioned, which is something that I swear I heard it from like my mum or something, is I didn't know this kind of made your lips more matte, but if you want to kind of moisturize your lips without them looking glossy, because obviously if you're using like a matte liquid lipstick, sometimes using a lip balm underneath to hydrate can kind of alter the formula of the liquid lipstick and make it look a little bit more glossy. So instead, if you want to keep your lips matte but also hydrated, use an eye cream. I knew it hydrated your lips, but I had no idea it kind of kept them matte, and it bloody works. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that more often. So I'm just going to take this shade. I think that is too orange, so I might have to go and change that in a second. Oh, I don't know. Maybe if I go a little bit lighter, it's actually not far off. All right, guys, so this is what I've ended up looking like. I did add a little bit more of that liquid highlighter to my lip because I double-checked at the picture, and I'm pretty sure he did put a little bit of that on the model's lip. This is very much not like me, I've got to say. There are definitely some aspects of the look that I do really, really like. Like, I actually really like the brows. I could maybe do them a little bit better, but I do really like the brows. And I also really like the eyes, funnily enough, as well. I was thinking to myself that eyes were going to be the thing that, like, kind of let me down. But I actually really like how the eyes turned out. As a lot of you guys know, I don't really use that many cream products anyway. So this was, like, fully going outside of my comfort zone today. I feel like this side is better. But I don't know, I'm just not really feeling the contour. I felt like if we took the contour away and just did my regular contour and bronzer, I'd be a lot more into it. It's just my cheeks kind of throwing me off a little bit. Other than that though, I do feel like my skin is looking really, really fresh. Like my skin does look like skin, which I guess that's what skin is supposed to look like. It's just not my usual thing. But I mean, can we just talk about the fact that I have been talking to Ollie for the past like quarter of an hour. I've been eating in between filming this, and I barely have any creasing in my smile lines. So I am definitely going to be like taking away the product on my smile lines a bit more, because that really did seem to work. But yeah, I definitely learned a whole load of new tricks and techniques from Sir John, like the whole blowing the powder in the air and the bloody spirit gum for my brows. Like that is literally like one of my most favorite tips that I think I've learned ever. This is like a game changer for me. Let me know which tips and tricks you guys found most helpful. Let me know if there was anything interesting that you guys learned today. And also, let me know which look you prefer. Do you prefer this kind of look, or do you prefer my usual like cake face look? Because I'm happy with how I'm looking right now, but you know, the next time you see me, I'm going to be like 2 inches thick with foundation and like smothered in highlighter. But what can I say? So guys, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you do want to see more of me, because I upload all the damn time and I have a ton of videos coming your way very, very soon. Ollie and I have been working away behind the scenes. But apart from that, that is it from me. I love you guys and I will see you in the next one. Bye.